Hey everybody, it's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am back with a new episode of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And if you guys follow me on Facebook, you probably know by now that my original Facebook page was hacked. But you know what? We are not stopping anything. We are keeping the show going. We are keeping the business going. And we are still going to be promoting these awesome authors who I get to meet and talk to every week. And tonight we are going to be meeting a very special guest named Keith Holmes. And I'll tell you, research. You hear people say for the culture all the time, but the research that this man has done over the last 30 years is truly for the culture. We were talking before the show, and he mentioned that sometimes young African Americans think that they can only be rappers or they can be athletes, but his research has shown that there is so much more to our culture and so much more to our abilities. And I'm just going to stop here and let him take over and tell us all about the research that he's been doing and how he has actually encompassed this into two books. Hasn't it been now?
Well, one book, and I'm working on the second one, Dr. Lawson.
Perfect.
But thank you so much for inviting me onto your show this evening. And first, I just wanted to acknowledge my late wife, Cecilia Adams Holmes. She was very instrumental in me doing this research, raising 4 children. And my children, I want to thank them for all their love and support, and my current fiance, Sherry Hawkins, for inspiring me to continue on with this research.
Oh, that is a beautiful. And I'm so glad that you acknowledged both of them and showed them love, because we can't work in a capsule. We have to be able to get love and support, and sometimes just a little bit of help too. And I'm sure that both of these women did this for you. So thank you for making that acknowledgement at the beginning.
Thank you. So my story is kind of unique. I did live in Mississippi for a short little time, but this research that I started in 1988. I came across a book by Burt McKinley called Black Inventors of America. I was so enthralled with the book, I was thinking about becoming a vendor and selling this book on the street. And I spoke to my mentor and my family, and they said, well, why don't you write a book about Black inventors? Prior to that, the only kind of writing I had done was love letters, poetry and things like that. But I had to start really buckling down and doing some research to find out who are, where are, and how are the Black inventors contributing to all the science and wonderful technology that we're seeing here today. And yes. I am proud to say that currently there are over 30 Black men and women inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And now, just keep in mind, there are over 600 men and women inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, and only 3% of them are Black men and women. And hopefully, this kind of talk and research that I'm doing will encompass people realizing you can become an inventor also, or a scientist, and make major contributions to the world.
Wow, that's a great way to put it into perspective, because if you just say the number, you're like, wow, that's great. We have 30 people in this Inventors Hall of Fame. That's awesome. But then when we think about it, compared to the number of inventors who are in there, and compared to the number of African Americans, and not even just African Americans, because you also have inventors who are African, who are Jamaican, and maybe Haitian and so forth.
Yes.
But when you look at the overall picture of things, to only have 30 is almost a travesty in some cases.
You're right. And just in the continent of Africa, there's over 1 billion people. In the United States, there are close to 40 million Black people. And then you can look at the continent, the Caribbean, as well as Central and South America. You're talking about almost 100 million right there. But you know what it is? I think it's research that has to be done to identify the men and women who've made very serious sacrifices in developing inventions that we kind of take for granted. And that's what I've been doing. With the African inventors, it's easy to find them because I can look them up under their traditional names. But for African Americans with names like Jefferson, Smith, Jackson, those names, even though there might be household names, I have to rely on a very good source in terms of determining if they actually did invent something or not. So that's where the Schomburg Library comes in.
Yes.
Amistad Research Center in New Orleans, the Moreland Spingarn Library in Washington, D.C. And by utilizing the information that I've been able to find over the last 30 years, I've been able to flush out who's actually invented something and what kind of contribution have they made to the United States as well as to the world.
Well, I've got to say that I graduated from, well, I didn't get to graduate from there. I actually graduated from University of Maryland, but I started my college education at Loyola University, and I was very fortunate to have one of my professors' name was Brenda Osby, and she encouraged a lot of research, and we took a number of classes that were related to African American literature. And she would always tell us about the Schomburg, and she would encourage us to go to the Amistad Research Center. And so I was able to get exposed to that at a fairly young age. And when I had the chance to go to New York, the first thing I said I wanted to do was go to the Schomburg.
Yes, yes.
You know, and that's not something you hear every day. Like all of the things in New York, and you want to go to a library.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, that was exciting because this was something that I was taught in college.
Yeah.
And so because I was taught this in college, I wanted to be able to go to this place for myself and to see the type of history that was in there. So I recommend that anybody who goes to New York, make sure you stop by the Schomburg Research Center.
I second that emotion. The thing that I realized in doing this research, I had to have a beginning. So besides the Black inventors of America, I wondered if there was somebody else who had done some research prior to what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And the name Henry E. Baker came up. And Henry E. Baker was from Columbus, Mississippi. He was inducted to go into the U.S. Naval Academy. He didn't finish. And then he wound up working at the United States Patent Office as a patent examiner. And it was him who typed up, can you imagine this now, over 2,500 letters. And I'm hearing now that it's probably 8,000 notices that were sent around the country in the early 1900s, asking if there were any Negro or colored inventors. So he received like 1,500 letters back and notices saying, hey, you know, Black people haven't done anything when it comes to invention, scoffing, laughing at the idea. But he got 1,000 letters back, documented proof that Black men and women from not only the United States, but Canada as well as the Caribbean, documenting the inventions that they actually created. So I took that baton that he created back in the early 1900s, and I said, well, if he ran with this baton, I think I can, especially with the resources we have available now.
I love that. I love that. So can you tell me about well, first, let's talk about some of the people that we kind of know about. You know, there was this really great Facebook video that went around for a very long time that if Black people didn't exist, you wouldn't have this and you wouldn't have that. Yeah. And which opened our eyes to a lot of inventors. So that really kind of taught us a bit about our history. But even with that video, there's still so many other people that we don't know about. We don't and so many things that we use in our everyday lives that we don't realize were actually created by a Black person.
That's good. That's a very good point. In 2022, the first 2 Black women were inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And one of them was Marion Croak. She's responsible for us being able to do what we are doing on StreamYard, Zoom, Vonage, anything that requires voice over IP.
Wow.
She has over 250 inventions.
Wow.
And she's currently working, you know, with Google, and she's developing things related to artificial intelligence. The second woman to be inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, Black woman, she was nominated 11 times. It took the 12th time for her to get in, Patricia E. Bath. And anyone who has had cataract surgery or required some kind of special techniques regarding surgery on the eyes owe their surgeries to this woman because she developed laser technology that could be used on cataracts. Now, prior to that, you know, a good eye surgeon would use a scalpel. and hopefully a very steady hand.
Right.
She developed techniques that allow you to use a laser technology to remove cataracts. And she's currently has about 10 patents. And unfortunately, I won't say unfortunately, she lived out her life to the fullest, and she wound up passing away, I think in 2019 or 2020. But it took 11 times to be nominated, and she finally got in the 12th time. Now, the first Black person to be inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame was Dr. George Washington Carver. Now, Dr. George Washington Carver is responsible for hundreds of innovations when it comes to peanuts, soybeans, the use of earth metals, as well as earth dirt, just good old-fashioned dirt, and developing dyes from dirt, okra, all the things that we kind of take for granted today when it comes to peanuts and soybeans. Some of those things Dr. Carver is responsible for, as well as sweet potatoes. So he only came up with 3 inventions that he filed a patent for. But had he filed a patent for each one of his discoveries and innovations, he would have had over 1,200 inventions. He would have been a greater inventor than Thomas Alva Edison. Now, remember, Thomas Alva Edison had the Edison company that incorporated using other inventors who would file for patents under his corporation. So, yeah, Thomas Alva Edison was a famous innovator and inventor, but he wasn't the inventor of everything that he filed patents for. It was actually a group of men who actually filed their patents under his company's name. And one of them was Lewis Latimer. And Lewis Latimer was the one that came up with the filament that allows the light bulb to burn bright and longer. Prior to that, light bulbs were going off left and right in a very short amount of time. So Lewis Latimer has about 10 patents. So yes, there are definitely things that we've done over the eons. When you go back to ancient Egypt, you go through the African civilizations, then you go through, our enslavement, the fact that we brought over these ideas with us. We knew how to work dyes. We knew how to grow crops. We knew how to grow cotton. Quite as it's kept, Africans grew cotton in West Africa, as well as throughout other parts of Africa. And they knew how to gin the cotton with their rudimentary or very primitive cotton gins. So that gets back to the story. People keep saying that it was Eli Whitney who developed the cotton gin. No.
Right. That's what we hear in the history books all the time.
That's right. He developed a cotton gin. Now, he was a school teacher from Vermont who came down to Georgia, saw a group of African men using this very primitive ginning device, which means separating the seed from the cotton. And there was a light bulb went off in his head, and he said, let me take this device that I'm seeing and develop it into an invention. Prior to that, there were, and even afterwards, cotton gins throughout the South. His was unique because what it did is revolutionize the ability to remove the seeds from the cotton. So he didn't invent the cotton gin, he invented a cotton gin.
Right.
That was successful.
Right. But he's the one who got the credit.
Yeah, everybody talks about it. Eli Whitney.
And we see that often. Some people say that the difference between Annie Turnbull Malone, the reason why she didn't get more attention for what she did, even though she was the first African-American woman millionaire, is because she didn't have as good a PR team as Madam C.J. Walker.
Well, and that's interesting you bring that up, because now we know social media, which is very prevalent in this country and around the world, is the way to boost your brand. On the cover of my book is Dr. George Washington Carver, who's inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame, and Marjorie Stewart, a Black woman who worked for Madam C.J. Walker. She recently was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Little did I know when I printed this book in 2008 was that the fact that Marjorie Stewart was going to be inducted, but she happened to be inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame recently. But yes, branding, getting the word out. When you talk about Alani Johnson, who invented the Super Soaker water gun. All he wanted to do was to create a better water gun for his daughter. And that idea ballooned into a international instrument for squirting and shooting people with plenty of water, not just a little water gun, but a Super Soaker water gun. Right. Now, Lonnie Johnson has his company, Johnson Research Company, which is responsible for developing lithium-based products in terms of batteries. He's no longer just doing water guns. And one of the things that happened with him recently, he won a lawsuit against Mattel and other toy gun, water gun manufacturers. $250 million had to be paid to him. So this is more money than, you know, most NBA, NFL, baseball, soccer players make. And he used his brain.
Yes.
And not to say that, you know, Black men or women should give up the idea of pursuing their sports, hip hop, rap, or pursue their careers in other endeavors. But my calculation says that, you know, your chances of becoming a scientist or inventor is about 1 in 3,000. If you think about becoming a basketball player, it's 1 in a million. And if you're talking about becoming elite, you're talking about 1 in 8 million, meaning that LeBron, Kobe Bryant, all those basketball players, those are almost like Michael Jordan, once in a lifetime, once every 10, 15, 20 years will come along, or Lisa Leslie, or any of the other athletes like Pele. They're just one in a lifetime or once every 10 or 15 years. But inventions, particularly nowadays, where people realize that ideas have motivated the world and moved the world forward in such a giant leap, science and technology is the way to go, and we can't be afraid of it. I think for a lot of us, and I'm talking about us as a people, we're afraid of the science, doing the math. No, math is just how it's taught. If you teach it properly, just like writing, researching, you know, working for yourself, if you're taught right, you can do it.
Amen. You know, I read this quote today that was really interesting. And it said that while everybody else is digging for gold, you be the one who's selling the shovels.
You'll make a lot of money that way.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I see inventors. You know, we see everybody's trying to do their own thing and carve their own niche, but they still need resources. They still need supplies. Maybe you could be the one to invent something that helps them to dig for their gold. You be the person who invents that shovel that can help them. You're still making money. You just don't have to do what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, it's a good point you're bringing up. I think what we kind of realize, particularly if you look around us, many of the things that we're currently using now, clothes, chairs, lamps, you know, you name it, it's been invented by some man or some woman. Mm-hmm. And now you talk about close to 8 billion people being on the planet. There are billions of ideas who need to be brought forward to help and assist people, particularly, you know, in today's times.
Amen to that. Well, Sherry Hawkins is watching us from YouTube, and she said, "Thank you for championing black inventors."
That's my fiance. Thank you.
Oh,
isn't that sweet?
That is sweet.
You always gotta have somebody in your corner. Somebody fighting.
To that. Amen to that. So we are talking with researcher Keith Holmes. He has been doing 30 years of research, and he has taken all of these inventors and innovators that he's discovered, and he's put them into a great book. Can you show us that book?
Sure. So this is the book, Black Inventors Crafting Over 200 Years of Success. It's a part of the State Library of Louisiana, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Florida, Iowa, New York, New Jersey, and most recently, Michigan. So what we've done over the years is we've contacted libraries, schools, universities to let them know this book, even though it was published in 2008, provides a wealth of information, particularly when it comes to Black History Month or motivating young people to accept the idea that STEM is here to stay. That movie, Black Panther, for example, Everybody saw Black Panther. I saw it like 5, 6, 7 times because the whole idea of seeing Black men and women in science and technology,
yes,
making it hip, making it like, hey, I want to be like Black Panther if I can.
yes,
Seeing Shuri become a scientist, you know, where we don't see many Black women scientists. So yes, when I went to go see that movie, I was enthralled, I was motivated, and I said, I got to do more research. Because when we talk about Black men and women inventors, we're not only talking about the ones here in the United States, we're talking about the ones in Canada,
yes,
the Caribbean, UK, Europe, Australia.
This is why I
South
don't
America,
like
as well as
saying
Africa.
this is why I don't like saying African American History Month, because
Yes.
our history does not stop in the United States.
No, it doesn't.
I will always say Black History Month because our history is in so many, and our culture is in so many other countries. And we can't, if we say African American, we're just keeping it at the United States. And there's so much more than that.
You're absolutely right. When you just talk about the rhythms, particularly drums, the drums that we're used to hearing in Africa, and I went to Ghana last year, the rhythm, the dance, I said, man, I'm back home because this is where it all originated from. And I wasn't, you know, I wasn't afraid to go amongst our people and dance and celebrate and eat the food that they're eating because that's my culture. I finally saw a piece of okra growing on a plant in Benin. I said, I never saw how okra is grown. Now, one of the things that I wanted to present here was that when we talk about the cash crops in this country, the cash crops in this country is the foundation of the wealth of the United States. Mm-hmm. Cotton,
yes,
soybeans, indigo, sugarcane, rice, tobacco, all have associated with them hundreds, if not millions of patents associated with them. So yes, it's not cotton, it's not just for clothing, it's used for a whole bunch of different things.
Right.
You know, so that's where I want to motivate our people to realize that, yes, we did grow the cotton, but now there's patents associated with the cotton. There's patents associated with peanuts, with indigo, with tobacco, things that could be really utilized to help mankind.
Now, when you first started this research, and this was 30 years ago, did you start this research with the intent of putting all of this into a book?
You know, great question. I came up with a book and it was 1,000 pages long. I said, nobody's going to do this. Can you imagine carrying a small, big Bible around with you? There's 1,000 pages. So what I did, I said, you know what? I got to come up with something. And what I did in this first book was acknowledge the inventors from the various states within the United States, as well as the various countries around the world. So this book represents almost all 50 states that Black inventors have resided in throughout the Caribbean, parts of Central America, Canada, the UK, Europe, Africa, and Australia. I've made sure that when someone's doing some kind of serious research and they want to see, well, is there a Black inventor from Detroit? Yes. You go to my book, you go into Michigan, you will find Black inventors from Michigan. If you go in and you're from Florida and you want to find some inventors from Florida or North Carolina, Iowa, you will find inventors from those locations, and it will list what invention they actually came up with.
Okay. Now, I'm putting your website in the chat, and I'm going to also put it on the screen.
Okay.
So if someone wants to see this book, I know you said it's in a number of different library systems, but people can also go to your website to get the book.
Oh, most certainly. If they purchase my book, the paperback version from my website, they'll get an autographed copy. The book is also available in PDF as well as a iOS, meaning that a device that uses Apple and or Droids. I'm a big Apple person, but you know, I realize people use Droids, so
yes, I use an Android, and I'm not going to have you shading my phone on my show.
I would say something, but I'm going to let that one go. The main thing is the book is available under a number of different formats and through a number of different distributors around the United States as well as outside.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, you also, well, you just touched on it a little bit, but you said that you are a distributor. How does that work? You're a distributor to a number of different bookstores and library systems, correct?
That's correct. And one of the things that I've done is that I've incorporated other materials. So we have a group of workbooks, about 7 or 8 of them, for students that are in the 3rd through 5th grade. And they list the inventor, what they've done, and it's also interactive, meaning that the student can also write into a book. So it's a workbook. And it covers Black inventors, not only from here, like you were saying, just the United States, but Canada, the UK, Africa, the Caribbean. And they also have a poster, because one of the things that I began to realize, just like we put up posters in our rooms for, you know, sports stars or entertainers, you kind of need to see a poster about some of the inventors and what they've done, men and women. So we also offer that on our website. And it's been a great seller for schools, churches, and community centers.
Yes, that's awesome. And I mentioned in the promo for the show that we don't have to wait until February to celebrate our history. This is something that can be celebrated all year round.
365 days a year, because you're Black 365 days a year. It doesn't change.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for putting this all into a book and opening our eyes up to a part of our history that many of us don't think about every day. We don't, we don't always think about who invented this or who invented that. And then we sometimes don't even think about it until Black History Month comes around. And that video that I mentioned at the top of the show starts to make its way through the airwaves. If Black people didn't exist, you wouldn't have the light bulb. If Black people didn't exist, you wouldn't be able to do your hair, and so on and so forth, which is a great video, don't get me wrong. But we shouldn't wait for just that video to learn our history. So this is one of those books that actually opens our eyes up to more than what we just see every day.
That's correct. And as you know, Black history is something that is a living entity in itself. It's just not something that occurs 28 days in February. It's a living experience that we all go through. And everybody needs to learn about Black history because it's a part of world history.
Right.
It's not something separate unto itself. It's a part, without us, and of course, without European history, Native American history, Chinese, Japan, we wouldn't have the world as it is today. So everybody needs to know about Black history.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned when you first started this project that it was 1,000 pages. How many pages is the book now?
179.
There we go.
I had to pare it down. I said, nobody's going to buy this book. But you can fit it in your pocketbook, your bag. You can put it in your coat pocket. You can give it as a gift to a friend or a family member. It's a great resource tool. And people should understand that Black inventors is not an anomaly. It is something that has existed for thousands of years.
Yes.
This just gives a small example of it.
Yes. Now, when do you expect the second book to be released?
Sometime in 2024. That's going to give you the economic impact. Because when you talk about Black inventors, a lot of people talk about, well, Granville T. Woods died penniless. Elijah McCoy died penniless. Well, Lonnie Johnson ain't penniless. He's a millionaire.
Right.
Mark Edward Dean is a millionaire. Marion Croak is a millionaire. These men and women have made money off of their ideas. They're not penniless. They're not going to die penniless. So we got to keep that in mind because, everybody wants to be that basketball player or that soccer or that hip hop artist or that rapper or WNBA player. No, be an inventor and be wealthy and help the world.
Yes, yes. Well, Mr. Keith Holmes, thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. Thank you for what you are doing for our history and opening our eyes up to more than just what we see every day. I wish you the best, and I'll be looking forward to not just this book, but I'm looking forward to the next one too. So don't get halfway through 2023 and then be like, nah, I'm not doing this. I'm tired. You owe us now.
Thank you for the encouragement, and I will get that book done, and you will be one of the first people to know about it.
Yay! And you are more than welcome to come back on the show when you're ready to talk about it.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you. You have a wonderful evening.
You too now. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was Mr. Keith Holmes. He's an inventor. He's a researcher who has opened our eyes up to many innovators and inventors in the African diaspora, not just African Americans. And so I really enjoyed that interview. If you didn't notice, okay. Now our next guest is actually in the studio, but it looks like she's having some connection problems. So let me see if she's trying to call me, and she has not yet. So hopefully she'll be jumping in pretty soon. Lorre, if you can hear me, you might need to log out and then log back in. So while she's trying to make that happen, I want to show you guys what we have planned for Black History Month, February 2024. In case you missed the show last night, which or if you missed the show last week, which I really hope you didn't. I hope you were there. Yes, that is the Black History Month Literary Weekend. We will be back February 22nd through the 24th here in the DMV, and I really want you all to be there. So it's going to be amazing. We're going to be announcing the featured authors very soon, and tickets will be going on sale starting in November, and we want to see you guys there. So more information to follow. Keep following the Meet the World Image Solutions social media platforms, and you are going to hear more about it. But in the meantime, our guest has seemed to overcome her connection issue.
I did. I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
What happened, ma'am?
I have no idea. My laptop decided it did not want to act right, so I had to do it over my phone. How are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining me tonight. I see you wearing your pretty blue.
Girl, yes, my color. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. So you are not a debut author. You are a sophomore author. This is your second book.
Yes, that is correct. My first book was No Exceptions, Only Me, which I published in 2015. And of course, my most recent one, Lustful Revenge, which I just published about a month or so ago.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us about Lustful Revenge. First of all, that is a very captivating name.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And yeah, thank you. So what it is, it's about a single mom, trying to raise her children, do the best that she can.
Yes.
And in the process of her failed relationship, she still believes in love. She still believes in the family-oriented stability that she wants to show her children that still should be a part of the world these days instead of just, living alone. She finally meets somebody and they are in the process of blending their families because he also has a child. Mm-hmm. So they are in the process of blending, but within their process of getting to know one another and blending their family, they're running into a lot of obstacles, which people just don't want to see that family dynamic. But they are going to fight through it and get through it. And within that, of course, she has to, as we would say, kick off her shoes, put her hair in a ponytail, and fight for her relationship.
Okay, now. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a lot of passion in this book.
Yes, there is. There is a lot of passion. Because she wants to, even though they're coming across a lot of obstacles from the people that, it usually be the people that's close to you that just don't want to see you succeed.
You know how
So
we say it be your own people. It be your
right,
own
right,
people.
right. The ones that's supposed to be there to encourage you and uplift you, it be those ones that's, in the background just hating on you seriously. So
Yeah.
she is in the process of trying to fight for her family.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now I did put the link to your book on Amazon in the chat, but it's a really, really long link. So I'm gonna put it on the screen, but
Okay.
just know you need to go to the chat if you want to click on it. It's a really long link.
And it is actually on Amazon. They can also get it on. It's on Amazon also.
Right. That's
Yeah,
what we have. This is
that's
the Amazon link.
in case they don't want to type that long link then.
Yeah, just go to Amazon and look for Lustful Revenge. The name
Right.
of the book is Lustful Revenge.
Absolutely.
Oh no, now where's the revenge part come in?
Well, in the process of her fight for her family,
Mm-hmm.
because some things happen in between them getting together. In the process of her fighting for her family, she had to go out and, take care of some business behind the scenes on her own. Because obstacles, of course, did get in the way. So she had to go in and show people in her kind of way that you're not going to have my family.
Exactly.
This is going to be my first and only time explaining this to you in this way.
Now you are from a city that is very, very cultural. Because you're from my city, so I can say that.
Yes, I am born and raised from New Orleans, Louisiana. Absolutely.
Awesome. So what made you decide to get into the literary industry?
So as a child, I have always just wanted to write to get away from things because, as a child, things go on around you and everyone has to find their escape route to keep a sane mind. So I have always been one to just want to grab pen and paper and just to put my feelings down. As of this day, I still keep journals on my life, period. I keep journals for my children. I just keep journals. Writing is what I love to do. So after Hurricane Katrina, we relocated to Frederick, Maryland for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
And one day I said I always wanted to write a book. And I said to myself, there is no time like the present. So the next day I got up and I went purchase my laptop and there was the first book born.
Oh, there you go. Wow. So where are you getting your story ideas? I mean, because since you're doing all of this journaling, are you pulling from real life experiences? That's what happens with a lot of authors. We want to pull from real life and then try to fictionalize it a little bit.
Right. So that would be it. So as far as the first one is concerned, when I was actually living in Maryland, I must say, after Katrina, it was a lot, and I was still a single mom. My youngest was actually 6 months when that happened. So at that present time, I wasn't dating, I wasn't doing anything. So that's where that book was born from, just the wishing and the well wishing and hopeful of finding my special someone.
Yes.
So no exception, only me came from that. And Lustful Revenge actually is basically, some of it is my personal life. Some of it is personal, and then the rest would be fiction. Because I actually have never had to put my hair in a ponytail and kick my shoes off and put my Vaseline on in case I had to fight.
Okay.
But if I have to for my family, I will know how.
All right, because we're from New Orleans. Sometimes we have to do that.
Right, absolutely.
Let me stop talking mess. I don't do that either.
It's the truth. You got to do what you got to do for your family.
You're right. Absolutely. You are absolutely right.
Right.
So what have you learned about writing, and what have you learned about yourself since you started doing this process?
What I have learned about writing is it takes time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Because this, between my first one and this one here, it took me 5 years. So I understand that, sometimes writers I understand what they get when they say writer's block. I got that. And then there was just other stuff in life that was happening that I had to tend to first.
Yes.
And as far as learning about myself, I am growing in writing. I am growing in understanding my background, understanding some of the stuff that happened to me. not necessarily have to be traumatic. It's lessons that you have to learn in life to get to where you need to go, and then to prepare yourself from whoever it is that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So it's just, and putting that down on paper, you know, it makes you realize that some of the things you went through wasn't, because, you know, back then when you're going through it, you think the world is just about to end. But once you sat down and really think about it, it was just a lesson that had to be learned.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, there aren't any mistakes. Yeah, we might do some things that we might have regretted doing, but if we learned from it, then we don't repeat those mistakes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm trying to teach that to my children all the time. Absolutely.
So do you have a third book on the horizon?
Yes, ma'am. I will. I am starting on it.
No, you know, your book's only been out for a couple of months, so you probably want to bask in that sunshine for a little while.
I am, but I'm in the back of my mind. I'm working on it. I just got to get, I got the concept. I just got to get my characters and stuff together. I'm working on it.
All right. So do you have you started developing a writer's process?
Not as of yet. Right now, it's just all, you know, I'm just mentally thinking about everything. I haven't put pen to paper as of yet, but so far I have the basic concept of where I want to go with it.
Well, that's always good. And because I ask that question a lot, because some people think that planning your book or doing an outline for your book has to be some formal process, and it doesn't have to be a formal process. Often just kind of sketching out where do you want your book to go. Maybe doing that little balloon thing we used to do in high school.
Right.
Your plot, write that plot in the middle, and then put the little sticks that go out that'll tell what your subplots are. You know, sometimes describing your characters in such a way. And I sometimes I just scribble it down. Okay, the character's name is so-and-so, so-and-so is 30 years old. I'll do all of that so I can try to keep my characters on track.
Right.
So that is planning. It doesn't have to be very formal. Nobody's going to check your work behind you. You just want to have certain processes into place to keep your story straight. Some things that you can look back on or refer back to as you're going through the process of writing your story. So everything continues to make sense.
Right. Absolutely. But I can recall for my first book, I actually came up with the ending before I even had the characters.
That happens sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So I was able to work from there from the beginning. I had the end, but I had to get to the beginning and the middle, which actually turned out really good.
Well, that's awesome. So, you know, I appreciate it because you sent me a copy of your book.
Yes.
And I didn't have a chance to read it because I had my face. I don't know if you heard early or you saw in the note that I sent that my Facebook page was hacked. So I'm starting all over again. And I've been going through that drama for the past week.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, finally I just gave in and said, okay, I guess I'm just gonna have to start a new page.
Right.
But that's all right though. We're gonna turn this into a testimony. It's a
we are.
It has to be a testimony.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. That's the best thing to do, to always turn it into a testimony.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so now that things are starting to calm down a little bit and it's sunk in that I'm just not getting that page back, I can go ahead and start working on the new page and cleaning things up and starting over. But one thing we will be doing is making sure that everybody will have the opportunity to see this interview, because I want everybody to know this new author who's among us.
I appreciate that. I truly appreciate this opportunity you have given me. I really do.
Oh, no, I appreciate you being on the show. This is what it's all about.
So, but this won't be the last you're going to hear from me.
I hope not.
No, ma'am, not at all. Not at all.
So tell me, how have people responded to your book so far?
They're responding pretty well to it. I had a book signing last weekend. It went pretty well. It didn't go as fantastic as I would have wanted it to be, but you know what? I was grateful for the people that came out and supported me. I am always grateful for the people that are still purchasing my book. So it's going well right now. They're responding pretty well to it, and I'm grateful for that. So the first book, No Exception, Only Me, I ran across a lot of people that had read it, and it was like, well, when is your second book coming out? You're taking too long. I was like, it's on its way. So now that it's out here, I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, I'm going to tell you, all you people who have contacted Miss Lorre and said that you like her book, I need y'all to leave her some reviews, please.
Right.
Because this is how an author continues to grow and reach more readers, is we've got to leave reviews and show some love for these books. And even if it's not going to be a 5-star review, maybe it's a 4-star or 3-star, whatever it is, give her the feedback, because that's how she grows as an author.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would appreciate the feedback. Absolutely.
But I will say you do have a very supportive family, because that's how I met you.
Yes. My dad is one of my biggest supporters. He's been out there pounding the ground for me, and I appreciate him with all my heart.
Well, I'll tell you, that's the way it is. I'll tell you, when I first became an author, my family was there for me. In fact, the very first book signing I did, I don't know if you remember Afro-American Bookstop. It used to, the first location was actually inside of Lake Forest Mall, if you remember. Yes. Lake Forest Mall.
I remember. I went to school with Michelle Lewis. Yes.
Oh, see.
Yes. I went to school with her. Yes.
That was my very first book signing. I had a table set up right outside her store, and my whole family was there. My sister, my mom, my best friend, they were all walking through the mall. Come over here and buy this book. She's a new author. The book is good. The book is good.
Right.
And I had a very successful, in fact, maybe the book signing was so successful. And I started thinking that every book signing was going to be that way, because I had my street team with me.
Right.
I was like, I probably need to bring them everywhere I go.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah, but yeah, they were a huge help. And Michelle was always a great supporter. Every time I came to New Orleans, I knew I could go to her store and have a book signing. And it would always go pretty well, because she was always that supportive.
Right. And she's like that with me too. She's helping me 100%. So I always love Michelle.
Yes. I'm glad to see that she's still around. I know the store isn't there anymore, but I'm glad that she's still helping people and still supporting authors.
Oh, yes, she is. She is.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's up. I have to tell her you said hello, that I spoke to you.
Please do.
I will.
I miss Miss Michelle.
I will.
I've talked to her in quite a while.
Yeah.
In fact, I should probably have her on the show. We're like, where are you now? Yeah. In fact, tell her next time you talk to her, I want to have her on the show.
I'll give her a call tomorrow and let her know. Absolutely will. I will let her know.
So, what type of author would you say you are?
So I would like to consider myself an adult, erotica thriller kind of author. Yeah. So we have a lot of stuff going on in there. So
yeah, you know what? I don't mind that, because you can't just have sex throughout the entire book. You got to do something else.
Absolutely.
It's okay to have a secondary storyline.
Right. And my endings are always a surprise. Always. You'll never see it coming.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
Now, when it comes to writing erotica, was this something that you had to kind of prepare your family? Like, okay, y'all, I know you're going to read my book, but there's some things in it that might surprise you.
So my parents are not allowed to read it. They're only allowed to read the dedication part, which is the first page. That's it. My oldest, which is a boy, he doesn't have any idea that I even written a book.
Oh.
And my youngest just found out, but she's not allowed to read it either. So, but no, other than that, my uncles are not allowed to read it.
Now, absolutely. Are you gonna, all the people who are not allowed to read it, and especially your son, who has no idea that you're writing, I'm guessing you're going to hide this interview from them?
Absolutely, yes. From them too, yes. Yes. Just from them too. Everybody else knows about it. Just them too.
Okay. Yes. We're trying to hide things on the internet, y'all.
Right. That's going to be a task, I'm sure.
Oh, that's hilarious. Good luck with that.
Thank you. Now that you put it in perspective like that, I will need it.
But now, why did
Wow.
you decide to write these types of stories, especially when you're saying that certain family members aren't allowed to read it? Why did you decide to go with erotica, knowing that you were going to want to keep certain family members from reading your books?
So, all honesty, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was actually living in Maryland, out of the 3 years that I was there, I wasn't dating. So when I sat down to write this book, it was just a fantasy, and there erotica was born.
There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. So,
Yes, ma'am.
we all have fantasies, but when you can write it down and say, I'm gonna make a story out of this.
Right,
Hey,
right,
might as
right.
well make some money on those fantasies, huh?
Absolutely. That's how I see it. That's exactly how I see it.
Well,
Yeah.
I know we gonna get you. We're gonna get you straight though. We're gonna get you a website. We're gonna get you some reviews. We gonna get you out there, girl.
Okay, I really appreciate that. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. This is what we do here at Meet the World Image Solutions.
Okay, okay. See, that means you were God sent to me. That's exactly what that means. That's what that means, and I appreciate that.
So now with your you said the first book kind of started off as a fantasy, but
Right.
do you have the same characters in each story, or are you coming up with brand new stories?
So each story is different with different
Okay.
characters. The first story was based on, a single young lady just trying to find her way, and she ended up having a one night stand, which brought more drama to her life than she could have ever imagined. And the second story, as I stated, Lustful Revenge, is actually based on a single mom, trying to have a blended family.
Right,
So
right.
it's all different characters and a whole different plots.
Okay, well that means you have to work a little bit harder because you don't have that one character who can just continue to grow throughout your stories.
Oh, they'll be back. They'll be back.
Okay, they'll be back. I'm not
They'll
mad
be
at
back.
you.
They will be back. You have to find out what happened to them in the end, right?
This is true. This is true.
Absolutely. They will be back. They will be back.
So when do you think you'll be starting on that third book?
I'm gonna probably say maybe hopefully by the beginning of the year. That way I can kind of settle down with everything, because I'm actually I'll be in Birmingham, Alabama for a book signing.
Wonderful. When is
Yeah,
that going
so
to be?
that is going to be November 3rd and 4th. I'll be in Alabama. I'll send you exactly where I'll be at, because I haven't gotten the location down yet.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
be in Alabama for a book sign. So right now what I'm trying to do is just travel a little bit and self-sell myself while I'm taking vacation from work. So
Yes, yes.
I'm just, so right now that's what I'm working on. But hopefully by the beginning of the year I'll be started writing.
Okay, so you have the book signing in Birmingham. Are there any other appearances coming up?
I don't have anything scheduled as of yet. I am going to try to do a pop-up in New Orleans, hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so. So I'm trying to get that together as well. And once I do, I'm gonna start doing pop-ups also.
Okay, well, you have Community Book Center with Miss
Okay.
Vera.
Okay.
Yeah, so make sure you go over there on Bayou Road and
Okay.
and talk to Miss Vera. And then of course you have Baldwin Books, which is I believe on St. Claude Avenue.
Okay.
So those are two Black bookstores in New Orleans that you definitely want to make sure you connect with.
Okay.
Miss Vera's been around for a really long time. For a long time, it was her and Michelle. Those were the two main Black bookstores.
Okay.
And so now with Michelle closed, it was Vera for a while, but now we have Baldwin Books. Yes, which I
Okay.
have not been to yet. So when I'm going to be in New Orleans for Thanksgiving. Yes, I will be in New Orleans for
Cool.
Thanksgiving.
Cool.
Apparently, I have been told that I haven't been home in a while, so I need to come home. So,
Absolutely.
yes, so I will be in New Orleans for Thanksgiving, but I want to stop by the bookstores and make sure that I pay homage to the people who support us.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay,
Now,
well,
some of the
hopefully
bigger.
I'll get a chance to meet you while you're down here.
Oh, I will make sure that we do. I
Okay.
will make sure.
Okay.
And now, a couple of the bookstores. There's the Barnes and Noble on the West Bank, in Harvey, I believe it is.
Right.
They're very supportive bookstore as well. So that might be another store that you want to look at.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the
I'll check
biggest,
into them.
the biggest thing, you were in New Orleans. The writers community is pretty supportive there. So just make your rounds. Get out there and meet the people.
Yes, that's my plans. That is definitely my plans.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show tonight. Thank you for being a part of this literary industry. Welcome to the
Thank
literary
you.
industry. And like I said, if you need our support, all you have to do is just say the word.
Okay, and I will. You should expect to hear from me.
All right, all right, all right.
Thank you so much, and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
And thank you. You do the same. You do the same.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, y'all, that is the Horizons Author Lounge. That's it for tonight. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I was really nervous about how this was going to work out because I'm not on Facebook right now. I'm only doing YouTube and LinkedIn, but you guys turned out. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate the support. We are going to continue to grow the platform for YouTube. So if you were watching on YouTube, and I see a lot of you were, please like the page, share the page. There are a lot of amazing interviews, author interviews on the page. There's going to be more information coming out about activities that we have going on. If you are a business owner, or maybe you are an author and you have book packages that you would like to promote for Black Friday, I do have a special that I'm offering just for you guys. I'm going to be starting what's called a Black Friday Shopper's Guide, and I want all of our small businesses and our authors inside of that guide. So, and then I'm going to be basically doing all of your promotion for you. I want to put you in that guide and send it out to at least 10,000 readers so you can get your Black Friday deals taken advantage of. Actually, we want people to buy your stuff. And it's really hard to try to do that as a small business when you're trying to create the deals and trying to promote as well. So let me help you with that. So more information will be on the Meet the World Image Solutions Instagram page. And I'll be maybe doing an announcement on the TikTok page as well. But so look for that. Also coming up is the Right to Win Writers Community. This is going to be a community that's going to be full of courses, downloadables. You get discounted access to certain events. What I want to do is start a resource center for authors who want to improve their writing, for authors who want to connect with like-minded people, and not the people who are just trying to get out there trying to hustle. I'm talking about people who are actually serious about the art of writing. And I want you guys to be a part of that. So more information is going to follow on that as well. So make sure you go to the Meet the World Instagram page, and I will put the handle in case you don't have it in the chat. Meet the World Image Solutions. Okay, so just go to Meet the World Image Solutions right here on Instagram and follow me on there, and you will get information about the Shopper's Guide as well as the Right to Win community. So that is all we have for tonight. Thank you so much again for joining. Now, next week is going to be our special Halloween issue. We are going to have 2 horror authors. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm not much of a horror person, but I support my authors, and I'm really looking forward to interviewing both of these great authors and just really tapping into what makes their mind work and why they write these stories that they write. So this is going to be a fun night. I want you guys to be a part of it. So don't forget to join me next week for Halloween night, and then catch me tomorrow on Black Authors Matter TV over on the National Black Book Festival Facebook page. I will be there as well. So that is all we have for tonight, guys. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. I really, really appreciate the support tonight. And we're going to keep this thing going. We're going to keep this show growing and soaring. And it's going to be all because of you. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening.